You're 4 male co-founders, and you've got 3 men on your advisory board. You are a man of color. I don't need you to preach to the converted. Where's the women? Where's the diversity?
So one of our board directors, Kak Wilhelm from IBP, she's a woman. We also have another board observer, Anne Bordetsky from NEA, who's also a woman. And Susan Wojcicki, former YouTube CEO, is an investor in us, and she's also very helpful in advice. So we have a lot of people from many different diverse backgrounds helping us right now.
Okay, so 1 female board member, 1 observer, 1 investor that you name. That doesn't feel like a lot, but I get it. You feel that there's diversity enough. Many would quibble with that. But let's talk about what these 3 people bring from across the board, across experience. What is it that you need right now in terms of advice?
Yeah, so as a startup, we've been fortunate to scale up so much in such a short period of time. The next step for us is to really think hard about strategy, both in terms of search, how to build our own index and how to scale it up to even more users, and in terms of how our mobile and distribution strategy evolves, right? So search is all about distribution. They all say Sundar Pichai is the CEO of Google because he really cracked the distribution code through Chrome. So we are working with Emil, who is a former business officer of Uber, who is so aggressive on growth in terms of getting such a large user base. So we need to have similar ideas here. And in terms of mobile strategy...
Some would say it was too aggressive.
Yeah, we'll try to tone it down, sure. But look, startups have to be aggressive in terms of competing against incumbents who already have billion users, or OpenAI has 100 million users. We don't have that today. So we have to be, it's on us to do that. And it requires a good mobile strategy too, a great mobile experience. So Rich from Android would be very helpful there. And of course, the core thing is search, and no one better than Mikhail, who used to head Bing. He rolled out Bing Chat Copilot and was previously doing all the search infrastructure for Yandex. So he's going to advise us on building a lot of in-house infrastructure for us.
Aravind, thanks for coming back on the program. I've got to ask you about Google I/O and the real emphasis, frankly, that Google put on integration of AI into search. Specifically, it's like this idea of AI overviews, right? You know, you search for something, it gives you a text answer as opposed to links. A lot of people want to know what is Aravind Srinivas's reaction to what you saw out of Google I/O.
As the same reaction to what I saw last year when they called it Search Generative Experience. It's just the exact same thing called as a different name. There's literally no change to it. And sure, it's being rolled out to more people, but it's not going to be rolled out for every single query you type on Google. And most important thing when someone uses a product is they should know what's going to happen. When people go to Google, they hate the latency being bad. They expect instant 10 blue links to render. So the moment you start making people wonder what's going to happen, whether that's going to be a streaming of tokens for an answer, or is this going to be links, or whether it's going to be ads, or whether it's going to be some other panels, and a UI that's so cluttered with all these elements at one place versus a single UI just focused for question answering, that's what users are going to decide between Perplexity and Google AI overviews. And I think users like simple, minimal, clean products, so we are pretty confident in our own direction.
Aravind, do you have any information or even just sense that this was Google responding directly to Perplexity?
Possible.
And possible, right? And how do you plan to respond yourself?
By being a better product, by actually working on categories of searches that they're definitely going to be not incentivized to. For example, shopping. If you still, I'm on the SGE experiment already. And when I still type in shoes, I don't get any of the AI overviews. I just get all the Google Shopping cluttered UI. So I still get ads. So there are query categories, commercially intended query categories, insurance, travel, shopping, or education, the universities, for different tuition programs, taxes, all these different categories where all these advertisers are screaming at you to click on them. There's just no incentive for them to put an AI overview for those queries and lose their revenue share.
What's interesting, though, is you actually are built, in some ways, you use Claude 3, you also use OpenAI's underlying large language model, and the's rumors that OpenAI are going to come out with some sort of search.
Right.
Would that worry you a little bit more?
Not really. Though their strategy is cleaner than what Google is doing, they're not actually just changing ChatGPT to put in search. They're building out a separate product. But by building out a separate product, you're competing for users from, in the same way as like Google rolling out Gemini or Bard. You're not actually taking advantage of the existing user base. And we are confident that like our existing work on using many models and many indexes and all the orchestration that we do will still keep us a superior product. But it's good competition. Like we're definitely going to watch what they're going to release and make sure we execute even faster than what we're doing.
It's competition for talent. It's competition for dollars, because this is not a cheap process to be answering all our questions. Are you fundraising again? There's rumors that you are.
Are there rumors? I mean, I don't know. Like, look, all I'll say is that we are trying to be as efficient as possible and not going and raising like $1 billion round or something like that. I would say, yes, I agree with you. This is going to be expensive. We would have to fundraise again at some point. But our goal is to get our revenue in good shape so that as we scale in terms of number of people, that's a good revenue per employee, and we're a healthy business too.
Aravind, welcome to Bloomberg Technology. I'm glad that you're in the studio with us today. When we say that you're coming on the show, we get a lot of questions from the audience. Unsurprisingly, there are many Perplexity users out there, right? What always strikes me is how simple the questions are. They just want to know from you what your daily active user metrics are, the latest on the user base, geographically where these people are.
Yeah, so we actually care more about the number of queries we get every single day. That's a better metric for us because that's more directly tied to expanding our index and getting our models in better shape. So we are pretty close to 10 million daily queries at this point, somewhere in the late single digits of millions. So that's actually a really good progress from where we started. So every single month, we are basically serving close to like 190 million queries. And this is only expanding. We started like 1.5 years ago. Looking forward, like we can definitely, for example, Bing Chat served like 1 billion queries in 2023, and we serve 500 million. This year itself, we've already surpassed the entirety of 2023 in the first 3 months or 4 months. So looking forward, if we keep sustaining these growth rates, we're headed for a great future.
Aravind, I wrote on Monday in the Tech Daily that consolidation's coming among AI startups, essentially. Have you held talks with a bigger technology company about the potential of being acquired, or do you see yourselves as an acquirer of some of the other smaller names or teams that are out there?
Yeah, so I agree with you on the broader point of consolidation. It's already happening. Like a lot of AI startups that used to be there are no longer there, and like the fewer ones that exist continue to keep getting more and more powerful in terms of user base or market share and APIs. So we've had interest in the past. I'm not going to deny that, and we've also looked into acquiring a few smaller startups. In fact, we made one active hire already, like a company called Spellwise, which helped revamp our mobile team. And we were always looking for like new, hungry founders who are like, even earlier stage than we are, faster at executing than like typical engineers from big tech. And we're always excited about like talking to more people like that.